So I'll start with my intro. Welcome everyone. Dr. Naveen here from UPSC MEDICO. Many of you might know me because I'm into mentoring medical science optional aspirants for last 5 to 6 years. And through this journey, I had learned a lot of new things that are very important for this particular UPSC exam, which many of the doctors from MBBS background or other medical science background are unaware of. So this beginner session or a workshop will guide you like how to strategize your journey for the next 26, 27 attempt, right? So we'll begin with the session. First part of the session, I'll be more focusing upon the important things that I would like to discuss in the beginning, that what are the golden points that you should follow. Once this is done, we'll go to Q&A session wherein you can ask your personal doubts, right? So to begin with, for medical science optional students, the first thing that strikes into mind, not only for medical science students, for UPSC aspirants, when they start this journey of UPSC, there are three steps to it, right? First, there is prelims, which includes sub steps like general studies and CSAT examination. Then comes mains. Mains, within that, you have both general study exam and an optional exam. Then comes the personality test. Uh, so when you begin your UPSC journey, when you have taken a choice of actually starting your UPSC preparation, the first dilemma that comes into mind is which optional to choose, right? And wise students, intelligent students and smart students, they make a choice as early as possible. Okay, they will stick to it. They'll continue their journey even if it is one, two, or three attempts on the same optional. They will master it and they will be the winners. Here comes 20% of those students who are confused, little confused, and it's okay to be confused. It's not a crime. Then what happens? They will switch from one optional to other optional in every attempt, and their overall focus in UPSC goes into actually finding out the right optional instead of mastering the optional which they choose. So the first thing that strikes into mind is optional dilemma. Once you are over it, once you have taken a decision that this is my optional, like in your case for medical science students, you have medical science as an optional. There are other options like anthropology, sociology, and people even choose geography and philosophy, etc., psychology, etc. Then when you go for other optionals also, the mind always like, because you have invested 4 to 5 years of your time into MBBS, uh, though mind in the sense you are trying to find shortcuts for success. Okay, you want something which is short, subject which is short, easily finished, highly scoring, and also uh, less syllabus. So these kind of ideal qualities are not there with any optional. Like there's no one optional in the market which can tick every box, right? So when you have everything, what happens, like there are some optionals, the syllabus is low, they appears to be biased in high scoring, but at the end of the day, many of the doctors, they lose interest in it. They don't find interest in reading something which is not their domain. Like for us, for medical science students, we are already bombarded with a lot of new subjects when you get into UPSC journey. Like you have general studies to do, and you have CSAR to learn the mathematics part and the logical part, and language is there, which you are not, though it's a qualifying exam, you have to prepare for that also. So when you're so much into UPSC stuff, medical science is that optional which offers you a ground that a basic understanding is already there. You can just master it. So that's why, though mind says different things, the heart always says medical science. So here comes the dilemma whether to go for the mind or the heart. Then you need guidance, you need assistance, you need mentorship from the toppers. Okay, so these are the things that you look for. So then you start on searching in the Google, in the YouTube, to find the right partner. And most of the times, you will find one and only institute, that is UPSC MEDICO, which is actually helping students in this segment. Okay, in this niche segment where there is no one to guide you, because the overall, when you compare, like with my 6 years of experience, now I have currently around 1,000 plus students who are learning with me in different courses, including foundation, combo, plan A, plan B, plan C. Now, out of these 1,000 students, the actual targeting students for this current exam, like the upcoming 2025, which you are not part of, most of you, because in the chart which in the Google form, I have just checked that almost 70% are targeting 26, the remaining 2027 attempt. So those students who are going for 2025 are around 300 students. 300 medical science students, they appear, and out of them 45 to 60 students, they clear prelims, They write their mains. Out of them, 30 to 35 students are in the list. Okay, this is the usual phenomenon. So we hardly have a pool or a chunk or a sample of 300 students. So you have to fight within yourself, these 300 students, right? So now, what are we discussing? The first point or the first stage in your preparation is this optional dilemma. So my suggestion to you is get rid of optional dilemma as early as possible. Fix on your optional. Choose best optional which creates interest and also which is your graduation subject. Then work on it, master it, and give your exam. So you may not perform well in your first attempt if you do not have proper guidance. If you're doing it on your own, you might not score well like a topper. But again, don't give up. Like many of the students, they switch their optional in every attempt, and their overall UPSC approach or attempts, they go in vain because they're putting a lot of stress on optional. Optional is only 30% of what you need to do. There are toppers with minimal scores in optionals like 260, 270 are in the list. If you open last year's 2023 top 10, among the top 10, not even single person scored 300 plus in optional. Like hardly there was one student. So it's not about scoring 300 plus in optional to get a rank. This exam, UPSC, is all about a game or an exam of average knowledge. Like you have to have a little above average knowledge in all aspects of UPSC, starting from prelims general studies, starting from CSAT part, then GS mains answer writing, then essay, ethics, uh, grip on foundation, that is NCRT books. Apart from that, above average knowledge in optional exams. So when you score above average marks in all these aspects, then you will be in the list. Okay, there is no outliers. I'm too good with medicine. I had seen many students in the last 6 years with my experience. We do conduct full length tests for medical science optional. They score around 350 plus in GTs, like grand tests, but they never appear mains because they fail to clear prelims. So here comes the logic or a trick that if you're too good with medicine, if you're too good with medicine, what happens? You spend a lot of time in mastering medicine. Medicine requires little bit of time because it's a specialty subject. Then what happens? You might end up scoring well in the test practice, but you may not reach that stage of actually writing mains. What is the reason? Because you're putting a lot of stress or a lot of your energy levels are going into actually learning medical science rather than balancing everything. So now you have to learn the game or art of balance here. How to balance prelims, how to balance mains general studies exams, and how to balance essay and ethics, which are again a new domains for us for medical science students. Through our process of learning, our medical learning is designed in such a way we might not gain that ethical knowledge, or we might not be observing a number of ethics, or we lack poetic approach, we lack philosophical approach. We might struggle to write essays on a topic because most of us are MCQ oriented students, right? So that's why it is very important for us to actually understand the demand of the exam and gain the balance. Okay, and also understand that it is a game of average or low average, and get rid of optional dilemma. And one more thing many of our medical science aspirants are unaware of, because we do prepare for our NEET PG or INECET exams. We do prepare for UPSC GMS exams. See, all these exams, they run in a cycle of 6 months. Like you pass out of internship, you have an exam in 3 to 6 months, you give your best try, and you will get a clinical seat and you'll go and join. But this UPSC exam is not a 6 months exam. So get out of that mindset. This exam runs in a cycle of 18 to 24 months. So what I'm trying to tell is, let's say if you're starting your preparation now, okay, you will be giving your exam, the prelims part in 1 year, the mains answer writing exam in 15 to 18 months, the personality test in around 18 to 20 months. The results will come after 2 years, just before your second prelims. So when you don't understand this cycle, then what happens? You will be putting unnecessary stress upon yourself. Many of the students might need to join the same coaching institute multiple times, like for this attempt and also for the next attempt. Right? So this exam runs in a cycle of 18 to 24 months, and the UPSC board is trying hard to cut short the cycle. make it a little shorter. And this time, this year, the current year 2024, they have reduced the time between the prelims and optional exam. Previously, it was around 120 days or 130 days. Now they hardly have 3 months of time between prelims and the mains answer writing exam. So though board is trying to make it short, it is impossible because there are a lot of dimensions to this exam. So when you're starting your preparation now, don't only keep 26 attempt in your mind. By the time results will come, there will be 2027 exam just in the vicinity, just in the corner. So my sincere advice is, unless you have time constraints, or unless you have decided that you are only going to give only one try, unless you have attempts exhausted, or unless you have age limit exhausted, in such case, if these are not the scenarios, if you have good 2 to 3 years of time to prepare for this exam, plan for both 26 attempt and also 27 attempt. Okay, you might be disheartened by my statement that why Dr. Naveen is asking us to prepare for 2 years. Then I am very much adamant and dedicated to give only 1 year and crack this exam in 1 year. So if you can do it, fine, because people have done it. But overall, this exam is kind of like toughest exam on this planet. So you being successful is only 0.007%. So I don't want to put in that overconfidence into you or direct you in such a way that this is an easy exam, it can be done in 1 year. No, you might need an experience of 1 year to crack it in the second attempt. So most of the students in the list, like top 700 or top 800, many of them are of second or third attempt. There are smart and intelligent students, but they start early. For example, if you're starting in second MBBS, third MBBS, you have 4 5 years ahead, right? You can plan accordingly. But if it's a U-turn for you, if you're just an intern, if you want to give your 26 attempt, also keep 27 attempt in mind and plan accordingly. Okay, so this exam runs in a cycle of 18 to 24 months, and you should be keeping that fact in the mind and proceed forward. Okay. Now, if you have opted for an optional, if your optional is medical science, what you have to do is respect your optional. What many of the doctors are doing is that because they're just passed out of their internship, they just finished their final MBBS exams, or they have got a NEET PG rank 1 or INSET, good, but they still want to do UPSC. They have this overconfidence that already I know a lot of medicine. And when you go and open previous year papers of UPSC medical science also, they're pretty easy, right? The basic questions, they won't be challenging or integrating questions in similar to NEET PG, because that domain or MCQ based exams are little tough. They are super specialty based, but medical science optional exam is more or less graduation level knowledge, little above the graduation level knowledge nowadays, because competition pool is increasing. The question patterns also is changing. It is little demanding nowadays. But again, overall, when you look at the paper, most of them are repeats, and you might feel that it is little easy to crack. But please understand, this is an exam of answer writing, not concepts, not MCQs. So when it is an exam of answer writing, you need to understand what is the pattern of the exam and what is the demand of the exam. So to understand it, to learn it, it is going to take at least 4 to 6 months of time, right? If you're a fast learner, you might need to spend 3 to 4 months of time on optional. But if you're a slow learner, or if you want to perfect medical science optional, you need at least 6 months of time. That means 30% of your preparation time. Because when you compare the weightage also, optional gives you 500 out of 2075, right? Like 2000 marks, it is 500. Almost 25 to 30% weightage is for optional. And one more beauty about medical science as an optional, you might not understand it now, but when you reach stage of personality test, that is usually we call it as an interview, but it is not an interview. It's a personality test. In the personality test, because your DAF, okay, irrespective of whatever optional you choose, because your DAF contains, detailed application form contains your information as an MBBS or a BAMS or a BHMS or a BDS doctor. So you hail from health community. Any health knowledge is an advantage in interview. That's why what I observed in last 4 years is, overall in the personality test, doctors are faring well. We are scoring 20 plus marks extra in the personality test. And even this year, like almost 42 students from UPSC MEDICO have attended personality test this year, the 2024 one. The results are about to come in the month of April. So among them, so I have kind of collected all the questionnaire related to medical science, and many of them are saying that 50 to 70% of the questions in the interview are from medical science. So here comes an advantage of choosing medical science, which is actually a hidden advantage. That if you are well versed with medicine, if you have medical science optional knowledge, which is carrying forward with you till the stage of an interview, you can definitely crack interview also, wherein you get some extra marks. So though overall on paper the weightage for medical science optional is 500 marks, what I could observe is that it should be around 625, because 120 to 125 marks are actually ranked in the personality test based on your medical knowledge, right? So this is what I have observed in the last 5 years, that there is more extra, uh, you can gain extra marks with medical science because that is carried forward to the interview also. Now, you have to dedicate 6 months of your time. I don't know how you're going to do it. You can either do first 6 months of optional preparation, then go to GS. Or my advice is, because medical science optional is a static optional in the sense nothing much changes. There is no dynamicity to it. There's no current affair related. Definitely, there are some updates like national health programs might change. There might be new drugs in the chronic disease management. So apart from that, most of the syllabus is static. So when it is static, you might need to revise it multiple times, and it's purely, right, medical or biology or medicine is memory based, so you have to memorize a lot of things here. So when you have to memorize a lot of things, you have to keep in touch with medical science optional for long. That means you cannot finish it in 3 months and close the book and happily go to prelims and come back. When you come back, suddenly the same topic of brachial plexus, the same radial now, ulnar now, will be a nightmare for you, because you lost the touch with medicine. When you're actually swimming in the ocean of general studies, which is interesting, right, to come back and read a static optional, it might be a little headache for you. To avoid that, so when I'm going to give you a strategy at the end part of this discussion, I would recommend you to keep in touch with optional at least 2 hours or 1 hour per day, or at least once or twice in a week. Open the textbooks of medicine or UPSC MEDICO notes, whatever is the primary source of preparation. So when you do that, when you stay in touch with medical science for long, it would be easy at the end part of your exam, because when you reach your mains stage, there's a lot of new things in your mind, lot of NCRT, lot of essay and ethics part, and lot of GS subjects, history, geography, economics, which are new domains for a medical student. So when you're so overwhelmed with this much of content, the medical science might feel like a burden for you. And I have interacted with toppers, and they felt in a similar way. To avoid that, for new students, for budding students, what I'm advising is to keep in touch with medicine for long. Okay, and it's important to start early. Like for example, if you're starting now, like when I'm recording this video, this is month of somewhere around April, right? So when you're doing it in April, the month, like in India, most of the medical colleges internship is done by the month of March, or it starts in the month of March. And most of my students are from MBBS background, that too from internship, 70% of the students. So when I'm addressing them, don't take me wrong. If you're from non-MBBS background or BMS, BHMS, and also from MDMS, DNB background or BDS background, what you need to understand is you have to strategize this schedule according to your need, because I am only currently focusing upon MPBS because they form chunk of who have enrolled or registered for this seminar. When there is a dynamicity or changes, I will apply to it. But for now, because most of the medical students, they start their journey in the month of March, from March onwards, by the next 6 months means April, May, June, July, August, like so till the month of September, October, you have to finish your optional. Okay, you have to finish your optional preparation, so that get rid of optional headache as early as possible. Because once you get into prelims mode, once you get into the CSAT, once you fall into the ocean of general studies, you might not get enough time to work on optional. That's why it is important to start early. And this is the usual advice given to most of the budding or starting aspirants by any coaching institute, not only by UPSC MEDICO or Dr. Naveen. Anyone will tell you that first choose an optional, get rid of optional dilemma, and finish it off as early as possible. Coming back to medical science as an optional, as I said, we are daily learners, right? Like if you go to a clinical practice and if you practice, what you will do is on day-to-day basis, you will be learning a lot of new stuff. Okay, as a doctor, and you will be very happy to learn new stuff, new things, watch a lot of new videos in the course. But what is more important from medical sciences point of view is, instead of learning or instead of spending a lot of time in learning, you should always focus on practicing, because this is an exam of answer writing. Unless you put your pen on the paper, you're not ready for this exam. So you should start your answer writing practice as early as possible. I have seen a lot of medical science optional students struggling with their answer writing because they start it after clearing their prelims. Okay, so there is only 90 days of time. They submit their papers. I tell them that your papers are not up to the mark. They will lose a lot of confidence that will affect their performance. If you've done it before, if you do it now, where you have time to adapt, time to change, time to work on your weakness, improvise your answer writing, then you can change your answer writing pattern. You will be ready for the level which is required for this particular exam and you will be a winner. So that's why I tell all my students practice early. Start early. Focus more on revision rather than learning because every year they'll ask same brachial plexus questions. Don't need to read any rare things. This year they ask ulna now. This next year they'll ask radial now. Similarly, if they ask PCR today, next year they'll ask about reflex. The other year they'll ask about radioimmunoassay. And if they ask vitamin B12 this year, next year they might ask vitamin C. See, these are dictum topics what are asked in medical science. So you have to revise more, practice more rather than focusing so much on learning, which most of us do, And also in medicine, if someone says that syllabus is huge, that's the reason I'm not opting for medical science. I will not buy that statement because though the syllabus is huge, it is actually 10% of what you actually read in your MBBS. Okay. And in our course in UPSC MEDICO, we were able to finish the syllabus in less than 180 hours. It is close to 140 hours. 140 hours of lectures, we have finished almost 95% of the syllabus. I didn't finish 100%. What is the reason? See, I preach or I tell my students that do not try for sense of completion. Why should I complete? Like when I say that you shouldn't be completing whole of the syllabus, why should I teach you the whole of the syllabus? Because this exam is a smart exam. You will never be ready for this exam. If you go to a top one ranker of UPSC 2023 exam and if you ask her, have you finished whole of the syllabus? She will say no. Do you feel sense of completion? No. You are never ready for this UPSC exam. Instead of learning 100%, whatever you have learned, you have to revise and practice it. That is more important. So write it on a paper somewhere on the wall that instead of learning a hell lot of things, I'm going to focus only on the practicing and revision part because this exam is purely syllabus specific and previous year question centric. So this particular exam. Now, you did understand this point, right? That is, do not thrive for sense of completion one, right? Next comes importance of images, flowcharts, and algorithms. So these days we are more MCQ based, right? Even the next curriculum is in place, and a lot of teaching in medical science, as per National Medical Council, is happening in the lines of MCQ based or clinical oriented. When we do a lot of things, we will forget that art of images or art of writing flowcharts or algorithms in the theory exams. So that's the reason you have to practice it. So all our course contents, whatever we give, the notes, the discussion, we will be focusing on three major aspects. And if you ask toppers, if you check their topper copies also, they were working more on these aspects. That's why they're able to score better than their competitors. Now, coming up to medical science optional, there are people who have done or who have scored 300 plus, but your intention or your goal is not to score 300 plus. Your target should be in the between 280 to 300. Your time should be less than 6 months. You can't be spending more than 6 months for an optional, or you shouldn't be targeting more than 300. I might sound wrong. Okay, you might think that why is doctor saying that we shouldn't be targeting 300? Because many of us are over enthusiastic when we start our UPSC preparation, and we might reaffirm ourselves saying that medical science is my forte. I have done very well in the MBBS. I'm gonna target and get 350 plus. It is not possible because optionals they undergo scaling irrespective of whatever optional you choose. Based on overall performance of all optionals, your scores will be scaled or adjusted accordingly. If you are given USMLE exam, you will understand that because in USMLE exam, the exam is conducted on different timelines. Different countries will have different days of the examination based on the difficulty level, based on overall performance. They will adjust or scale your score into a normal distribution curve. So I don't want you to understand the statistics or mathematics behind this equation. What I'm trying to tell you is that it's not always advisable to aim high. See, I will ask you a straight question. You have opted for UPSC. That means you have decided to become an administrator instead of a doctor. Why do you need a doctor knowledge? You should gain that knowledge which is important to write answers and get near to 300 and get rid of this headache of medicine and go back and serve this nation as a civil servant, that is an IAS or an IPS officer. So that should be your goal. When you have that goal, you should have an optimistic target of 280 to 300. And in last 6 years of my experience, I had seen all the toppers who are in top 100 are scoring in the range of 280 to 300. Okay. If your target is 300 or less than that, you will be eased. You won't be carrying that burden or stress of scoring high in optional. So then everything looks easy from medical science point of view. You just need to hardly get 58% out of 100%. Right? If you want to get 58%, even if you master or perfect 70% of the subject, it would be fine. So you don't have to read 100% of the subject. So you have to follow all these dictums here. Okay. And as I said, it is important to understand that this particular exam has a weightage in interview also. When you read medical science optional, there will be a good chunk of medical science questions will be asked. May not be a direct question. They'll not ask you like what is the complications of an anti-diabetic medication, but they'll definitely ask you what is the burden of diabetes currently, what should be done at a national level or a state level, what is your state doing. So these kind of general questions are national health program related questions. They form major chunk of our personality test. So when you're preparing for this particular exam from day one, always develop this knack of imagining yourself on the interview or a PT personality test seat, and think about what kind of questions they can ask. Okay. So I always tell my aspirants or students that you should be imagining or thinking about the personality test, not about prelims or CSAT or medical science optional. You should aim for I. The highest point, that is the highest level of examination comes when you go to that UPSC board in New Delhi and you sit in front of the interview board. That is the time you have to imagine and you have to work for that and you have to practice for that. Now, apart from that, it is very important to understand that nowadays, even at the time of applying for prelims itself, okay, this year you might have applied, right, for 2025, some of you, they're taking detailed application form, okay, DAF. And this DAF for medical students contains a lot of new things, right? One question which has come to my mind that, like, I was even shocked. They have introduced a new question, okay? There is a column, choose optional. Okay. If you're choosing medical science as an optional from MBBS background, it is fine. But there's next column, if you choose something else, there was a question, why are you opting for optional X instead of your subject, instead of your graduation subject? So this question was there in the application form. Why suddenly I'm bringing this statement to you or bringing this to your notice is that I was interviewing Dr. Akshita Gupta, All India rank 60, I guess, in 2021. Okay, she scored 298 in medical science optional. Dr. Akshita Gupta. That interview is there in my YouTube channel. So she was sitting in front of, yes, yes. So she was sitting in front of the examiner board, and the examiners were like, they were asking a question. The board, head of the board was asking her a question that you have opted for medical science. I'm very happy that you have chosen your graduation subject as your optional. So he has given her very good marks in the personality test. Apart from that, she openly admitted saying that the board wants us to choose our graduation subject as an optional. If at all you choose something else, they're going to ask a lot of questions on that aspect. Being a doctor, why you have opted for something else? So if you're choosing something else, you should have a fair answer also. That is what I'm telling. See, I'm not biased here. I'm not asking you to choose only medical science being a medical specialist. My intention is that when I interview all these students and when I collect data, you should be even ready to say that I am choosing optional X instead of Y for multiple reasons, right? So they are asking these questions in the interview and they should be ready. You should be ready for an answer if you're choosing something else. Okay. So in DAF, this is one thing which is important. Apart from that, from MBBS point of view, they're asking you to write university level achievements. We're all from universities, right? Like medical college is a university itself. Now, many of us are bookworms, right? We don't kind of involve in extracurricular activities and all. So, if given a choice, if you're like, if there is a, even if you can assist in a research paper or an article, even if you are associated with any PSM service based stuff, or even if you are participating in inter college level competition of any volleyball or a football, do mention it. If you are from third MBBS or final MBBS, you're currently watching now. I think for interns, it is too late to be a part of all these things. But if you are a final MBBS or third MBBS student, I recommend you to be part of any one or two extracurricular stuffs and add it to your stuff, like add it to your DAF, because nowadays they're asking all these things in the DAF, and also I cannot straight away admit that they are gonna carry our yeah, they're gonna carry any extra stuff or such, but definitely, uh, yeah, I got a technical glitch. Can you please confirm that everyone, like, can you hear and listen to me? Just type it in the chat box. Any of you, please. Yes, yes. Thank you, Shubham. Thank you, Aman. So, coming back to the DAF part, this is also important in the beginning. They're asking you a few things like what you have achieved at the university level. I don't know what you have done at your school level or an intermediate level, but at least in the medical college, if there is an opportunity, even in internship, go back and meet your PSM PGs and ask them to make you a part of any research paper or an article or a service oriented program, because if you write that, the interview board will ask you questions on that aspect. Like that is itself is an achievement, right? So just focus on the DAF based part. Okay, as I said, please get rid of optional dilemma as soon as you can. And now I had seen these days, instead of starting our preparation, many of our aspirants are fully focused on strategy. They'll watch hundreds of strategy videos. In my UPSC Medical YouTube channels itself, I am doing this workshop since 2019, and highest view and highest viewership is only for these strategy videos. Then I'll be a little bit confused. Like, is it right way, or are we giving too much of strategies? So it's time to act, right? Strategy comes in the initial part, but the war has already started. You have to go and fight war. Instead of that, we are just working on a weapon. Like, what weapon should I use? What should be the shape or size of a weapon? You shouldn't be spending so much of time on strategizing. Just take 1 or 2 days of time, fix to it, and start working on it. Because for me, strategy is a process, it evolves, it might change. Okay, for some students, this optional might not be their cup of tea, right? Or they might have opted for something else, not medical science. But in the process, they'll learn that. I get a lot of calls like this. Like, I have chosen optional X, sir, suddenly, but I'm not finding interest. My heart is always saying medicine. Can I do it now? Can I perform well with medical science optional now? I lost touch with medicine. Can you help us? So people ask these kind of questions. So strategy is a process. It evolves. Don't fix yourself on one thing and only and one thing, that strategy. Fix that. So for today, take a affirmation that I have fixed my optional. These are the main stuff that I want to do. This is how I have to perform till the month of January. Then this is what I'm going to do. Just fix it today itself and paste it on the wall. Just work on it. If there is any modifications that are needed, if you think that some X subject is taking more time than usual, so try to adjust with subject Y. So you have to kind of make it a process, and you have to re-strategize again and again till the last date of your exam. Okay. And for medical science students, one thing I wanted to tell you, that no matter how well you're prepared for means, no matter how well you're acing optional, and good communication skills, you're going to perform well in personality test, but all this goes in vain if you cannot clear prelims, because that first step is the step where a lot of doctors are struggling. And this first step is so bitter, so disheartening, because for us, for many of our MBBS doctors, we perform well till this stage, right? Like till the stage of MBBS, we are always toppers. Okay, most of us. If you're not, don't take me wrong. I'm just highlighting the fact that you're the cream layer of this country from education point of view. You performed well during your 10th exam, board intermediate. Then you did well in your NEET. You got into a medical college. You performed well there. Some of you might have got even gold medals. But suddenly, for us, failure is a bitter truth. And this is the first time during prelims we taste failure. And I get a lot of calls after prelims results. Many of them are saddened, disheartened, and they're not interested in going forward. They neither go to NEET PG prep, or they neither want to continue one more attempt. So this is the most hardest or like tough thing for a medical personnel, because this prelims is first time going to give you heart attack, right? Heartbreak. So you should be ready for that. Instead of getting a heartbreak, understand the demand of prelims. Focus more on prelims. If as a student who has given multiple attempts, or if student is coming from humanitarian background, if he is spending X months for prelims, you should spend X plus 1 months, because prelims is a new domain for us. In prelims, this CSAT, which contains mathematical ability, logical understanding, reasoning, and nowadays, you know, right, CSAT is becoming little tough, and it is more maths oriented, and it is biased towards medical or science students. So that's why give respect to CSAT, prepare for it. Don't go by thinking that it's just an exam of qualifying in nature. It is not at all an exam of qualifying nature. CSAT is a filtering exam. Like with the help of CSAT, where qualification itself, they are filtering out 15 to 18 lakhs of aspirants, and they're bringing it to 7,000 or 8,000. 15 lakhs to 8,000 filtering is happening mainly on the CSAT part, because GS is always GS. They can't ask anything out of books, right? So basic questions will be basic, current affair will be there. We are well prepared for all those things. But CSAT is becoming tough. So you should be focusing on CSAT from day one. Okay, don't take it lightly, right? So these are the few things that I wanted to tell you. If I miss anything, you can ask me in the question box if you want to know. So before getting into the questionnaire, like Q&A, direct Q&A, let me start with an ideal strategy that should be opted. So I'm giving you a generalistic approach. You can modify it according to how you deem or how you feel that it should be done. First and foremost, I'll give you timeline of these exams. Like, because I'm doing it this workshop for 2025 26, if you're watching it later, somewhere around 26 or 28 or 29, you can modify this with the change in years, but overall the exam pattern remains same. Most of us will start preparation in month of March to May, because March is the time where final MBBS is over, internship starts, or March is the year where interns are out, or after May to June. Many of us are also giving some NEET PG exams or UPSC CMS exams, right? Many of will be thinking that after completing these exams, I'll start with optional. So it starts from March for serious aspirants. For aspirants who have a plan B of NEET PG or UPSC CMS, they start around June to July. So whenever you start, whatever is the month you start, my advice is to finish your first reading of optional by month of Jan, the upcoming Jan. So in your case, if you're starting in May 2025 or April 2025, make sure that by January 2025, you should prepare, you should complete your optional preparation. Okay. So coming back to the timeline, notification comes for you. If you're targeting 2026, notification will come in February 2026. Nowadays, notification itself is a mini exam. There are a lot of new things in the notification. And this year, UPSC notification is a chaos, right? Even CMS notification is a chaos, because they usually used to ask DAF during the main stage, but in the prelim stage itself, they have made it so rigid. The notification and also the application part is very tough nowadays. So it is going to take at least 1 week of your time. Okay. So once notification is done in the month of February, you will write your prelims in month of May 2026. I'm talking about target 2026 batch. When you write your exam prelims in May 2026, you hardly get 90 days between these two mains. And after giving your mains exam, you'll get 7 days break for optional exam. Okay. Many of you are unaware of the fact that for optional revision, they give you 7 days of time. Don't think that how can I write optional exam immediately after mains exam, because you're already very much tied with mains exam, which happens almost 6 hours per day, two sessions, right? After that, immediately optional, no, you have a week time gap between your mains exam and an optional exam to revise medical science again. And every year I'm conducting a separate revision batch to help you revise fast all these multiple subjects. Now, coming back to personality test, most of you will get your interview card between Jan to April, and results will come in April 27. Now, you need to understand that though you're starting your preparation in 2025, your results will come in April 27. It's almost 2 years. That's why the courses which I offer, the combo course and all, for 2 years, many of his students will call me and say, sir, why do you need a 2 years of stuff? I'm giving exam in 1 year. No, you have to continue your preparation. You have to revise, memorize, because after the results, immediately the next prelims will come. Only 1 or 2 weeks of time is left. So if you're ready for 27 also, better to have an extended access to any of the course you purchase, because to repurchase the same course with 1 year validity, it would be expensive. Unless you have financial constraints, always think of going for any subscription, not only medical science optional, any general study subscription also. Try to maintain at least 2 years of validity instead of 1 year of validity, because this exam, when you look at the timeline, is running in a 24 months timeline. Apart from that, start early. First reading you have to finish by January 26. From January to May, you can revise medical science, because you have to revise. Otherwise, you will forget everything. While doing revision, focus mainly on the CSAT and prelims part, because nowadays it is becoming unpredictable. From May to August, in this second revision should be done, and there will be 1 week gap for final revision to give your optional exam. Now, when to write tests, then you have to start writing subject wise tests. Like if you're starting with anatomy, with my course, anatomy, 18 hours of lessons are there. You have 120 pages of notes. Once you're done with that, immediately give a subject wise test. Likewise, by January, you have to finish all the subject wise tests. Now comes sectional tests and full length tests, which are final exam pattern exams. They should be only done during this 100-day time period, because they are mainly centric on practice part, the timeline practice. See, these subject wise tests will test your subject wise knowledge, but these sectional tests and full length tests, which are associated with our test series, they test your time knowledge and also competitive level, how well you're performing with your competitors, because they are final exam pattern. So they should be done by August. Okay. So this is course timeline, or how to prepare optional. This is overall timeline of the UPSC exam. Right? Keep these in mindset and prepare accordingly. So whenever you are writing your own strategy, always and always keep these timelines in your mind. Right? Done. Now, chalo, let's go to Q&A. So what are the questions? You have any personal questions, you can either type it in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself, the voice part, and you can ask question. Yeah. Yes, any doubts or any questions or any specific thing that you need to discuss?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, please, please, your name down.
अमन
Yes, Aman, please.
सर, जैसे कि बहुत सारे नेशनल प्रोग्राम्स आते हैं गवर्नमेंट के थ्रू, तो
Yes.
उसमें कौन सा पढ़ना है या सारे चीज मेडिकल रिलेटेड पढ़ना है?
Yes. Good question. See, when I started mentoring students from medical science background, this is one area even I was little troubled to create content. So what happens now is, till now, in the last 6 years, are like when you analyze previous year papers in PSM, okay, everything is syllabus specific. Like for example, last year in the health budget, there was this national sickle cell anemia program has been launched. Okay, or even during the COVID, there was a lot of chaos about COVID for 3 years. Okay, but if you open medical science question paper, none of the questions have come from COVID, and none of the questions have come from national sickle cell anemia or anything related to new national health program. So if you are only concerned about national health programs for writing your PSM exam, for optional exam, stick to the syllabus, and within the purview of the syllabus, if anything changes. For example, if you open National AIDS Control Program, it was recent question in 2024, and there was this medical, there was a new update that we have a Sampurna Suraksha strategy. Similarly, in TB program, instead of RNTCP, we have National TB Elimination Program, and now we have Pradhana Mantri Nikshay Poshan Yojana. So, what is changing with syllabus related, you have to keep track of it. Now, how to keep track of it? It is little difficult, because whatever, if you reading latest edition of Park also, they will be having updates 1 year beyond that. For this 1 year, as a mentor for medical science or as a content writer, what I am doing is I am following multiple websites to keep track of what changes is happening. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and each National Vector Borne Disease Control Program website, okay, NACO website. So I'm keeping track of them and updating content in my notes. So if you're part of UPSC Medico, if you're joining, if you have a PSM notes, it is up to date. So those who are not part of UPSC Medico also, to help them, what I'm doing is I'm doing two things. Any health related update, let me not tell this. What I'm doing is in the YouTube channel, okay, every year the updates of PSM related to medical science optional exam PSM, I am uploading it. So there is a video in the YouTube channel UPSC MEDICO. You go and check. So after this class, I will definitely share it with you also the link. So apart from that, I'm only talking about PSM updates related to medical science exam. But you need to know all national health programs for two reasons. One thing, if you open prelims paper, every year 2 to 3 questions are coming on the latest national health programs in the prelims part. Last year they asked the Vande Mataram scheme. They asked Janani Suraksha Yojana. There was a question on PMSMA, right? So definitely there will be questions on national health programs. So you're preparing for this UPSC exam, man. You can't just limit yourself to what is happening with syllabus related stuff. You need to have a broader knowledge about the health sector of India, critical analysis of healthcare delivery system of India. So for that reason, just to cover for prelims part and also for personality test, if you go to an exam, they'll definitely ask you what is the health budget, what is the bed to doctor ratio or doctor to population ratio, what is the out of pocket expenditure in India. So when they ask these kind of questions, then what you need to do or understand that you have to prepare holistically for this PSM part. So that's why I'm uploading new articles into the UPSC Medico website. If you open article section of UPSC Medico website, you will find the latest update. 2 days back, I have uploaded an article on critical analysis and also healthcare budget 2024. Every year, even I am following the healthcare budget for your sake. Any new update, I am notifying it in social platforms and also the article section. I'm also putting that in a notes format in my course so that you're well aware of all these things. And we are also conducting interview guidance program for doctors who clear their mains. So in interview guidance program, I am giving you 100 to 150 health related social stuff notes separately for students who clear. I think it is too early to discuss that part initially, but I'm telling you these things because you don't have to worry. As your mentor or as your guide, I'm definitely working on this thing. And this is very good question. This is a dilemmatic zone where students are hesitant to go for medical science because they themselves can't sit at their table and work on all these facts. It requires a lot of efforts, right? So for my students or part of my course, I'm definitely helping them in these domains. Okay. Hope this will answer your question. I took a little extra time to answer because again, it's important, right? This part, PSM part, update part is important. Let me read few questions from the chat box. You can open and see these questions. How to write an effective answer to any question from Pranesh. Pranesh, what I did in the previous 2026 strategy video is that I have taken a page and I have given you some guidance about how to write answers. Okay. The same thing I'm trying to do it now. This year, I think there is a change even with general studies also. Previously in the GS papers, general study paper also, they used to give full space. That full additional booklets also they'll give, but there was word limit. Word limit. Okay. For medical science, there is no word limit. There is space limit. What is the space limit? For 5 marks, they will give you, they will give you one side of a page like this. Okay. You should respect borders. Shouldn't be writing anything here. Within this, if they ask you, discuss clinical anatomy of radial nerve for 5 marks, you have to write. Okay. Ideal answer should contain always an image for any question which is more than 5 marks. Yes. If it is more than 5 marks of it is little intro. Okay. Whatever you are writing, try to follow flowcharts or algorithms instead of point-wise fashion. For images, always use color pencils because in the instruction column of medical science paper, final paper, it is clearly mentioned that use color pencils and draw images wherever necessary. So those who draw images are going to score well. Okay, so this is the pattern which they're wearing. In more detail, I have discussed in 2026 strategy video, which is uploaded prior to this discussion. Okay, I'll share that link with you, Pranesh. You can ping me through WhatsApp on this number. I'm sharing my WhatsApp number to you all. Okay, in the chat box. Okay, and also I'm writing it here. If you have any specific questions or content requirement, you can write it. You can WhatsApp me on this number, my number. Okay, yes. So we're done with this, Pranesh. Yes. Next thing is there is yes, Madhavi book list and will medical optional help in NEET PG? There are two questions from Madhavi. See, books to read and syllabus. I have recorded a 1 hour video and uploaded it in my UPSC Medico YouTube channel. Madhavi, please ping me through WhatsApp. I'll share that video. But because you have asked it, the books are actually the same books what you have read in your MBBS. But problem here is if you read textbooks, the syllabus is only 10%. And for many of the students who are actually following textbooks, lot of time goes in segregation. Okay, lot of time goes in segregation. Because if you take OBG itself, some topics you will find answers in Mudaliar Menon, some topics you will find answers in Datta, and some you have to refer to standard textbooks also, the higher grade textbooks. Similarly, there are some topics which are very well given in Davidson, but most of the topics I take reference from Harrison. If you take surgery also, Manipal is easy, but most of the questions are from Bailey and Love. For each subject, there are multiple textbooks for paper 2 part. Paper 1, it's easy. Paper 1, standard textbooks are working out fine. So the books to read, the names of the textbooks, and also syllabus understanding, I have recorded a separate video. It's there in the UPSC Medico YouTube channel. I will share it with you if you ping me through WhatsApp on the number which is provided. Now, will medical science optional preparation helps in NEET PG? See, this is again a hypothetical question. I can't say yes or no, but medicine is medicine, right? The subject is subject, right? Like if you are preparing for medical science optional or NEET PG or vice versa, knowledge is so. But problem here is, let me tell you, this is the common stuff I tell my students. So if you're traveling on a village road, you need an ambassador car, a normal car. But if you're traveling on an F1 race track, you need a Ferrari. So both exams are two different entities. Okay. NEET PG requires crisp, integrated clinical approach. UPSC Medical Science requires a kind of lengthy, orthodox way of approach with lot of images practice, lot of answer writing and all. Though the subject is same, though the concepts are same, NEET PG preparation might not help 100% here, or this preparation might not help 100%. Definitely not, because medical science optional preparation is only 10% of what you actually need to read for NEET PG. Okay, vice versa is true, because lot of topics which are important in NEET PG exam are not asked here. Like for example, they will ask what is a reflex arc, discuss stress reflex and inverse stress reflex for 20 marks in our exam. We hardly get a question on stress reflex and reflex arc in our NEET PG exam. So there are a lot of topics which doesn't match. Okay, so uh, I can't tell you a straight way answer whether yes or not, but definitely focus on one exam. Like if your plan is NEET PG, just focus on that exam. Come back again and prepare for this exam. But if you are fully dedicated to UPSC, try to find a UPSC related resource like UPSC Medico, which is exclusive for this particular exam. Okay. I think I've done with Madhavi's question. Now, Shubham Bharadwaj has asked a question, sir. Generally, to get extra 20 marks above the average score after normalization, what to be done? So, again, I have recorded this video. This video is titled in YouTube as Golden Guide. Golden Guide to score high in medical science optional. So, what is this golden guide? I'll tell you briefly. What you have to do if you want to get more than 300 is why we are it is difficult to get 300 is question number 1 and question number 5 are mandatory in our exam, and in question number 1 and question number 5 20 marks is unasked version. See, we usually for this particular exam we prepare previous year question, that is repeats, but sometimes what happens, they're asking unasked questions. So to score high, you have to prepare unasked questions. To score high, you have to practice answer writing, because with good answer writing practice, with good images, you are going to score that extra 20 marks. Even if you fail to score that extra 20 marks, the personality test on an average is going to give you that extra 20 marks. So overall, there is no bias as such, so you don't need to worry much about that. Now, generally these days, medical science optional has few outliers and new questions. How do we see for new questions and all? You have to follow the previous year paper analysis every year from starting from 2019 in UPSC Medical YouTube channel. I have uploaded previous year paper analysis videos. Though they are lengthy, take time and watch those videos. Those will definitely help. And in my course, as as we evolve, as the exam pattern is evolving, UPSC Medical course is also evolving. On a weekly basis, we upload new videos according to the demand, new topics, and every year we'll upload previous year paper discussion of the current year, and we change content according to that. Yeah. So the course contents are up to date and they cater to the change in demand of the exam. So, see, flow. One more question from Shubham itself. Any advice on how to keep flowcharts, diagrams, and general templates for answer writing? If a part of my course in the test series, I have discussed about 2 hours on answer writing tips. I'm so sorry, but this is actually it's part of course. It is not available on YouTube. Okay, in that, what should be DD based approach, clinical approach, algorithmic based approach for investigations and treatments. I have discussed how to write these in a generalistic way, but in our course all the videos, all the clinical stuff is discussed in the similar pattern to help my students. Okay, the same algorithms will be given in standard textbooks also, but an algorithm can be easily understood only when I explain it to you, like what is the first step, what is the second step. So it's always important to have some guide or a teacher who can teach you these algorithms with clinical expertise, right? So yes, in our course we do have all these things sorted out. If you are not part of my course also, standard textbooks do contain diagrams, flowcharts. You have to just practice that. So one question from Aisha. Sir, I am from BDS background. Paper 1 syllabus is fine, but paper 2 will be a roadblock. I think 3 days back itself, Aisha have recorded a detailed video on guidance for non-MBBS students. So yes, paper 2 is tough even for MBBS doctors, even for MD, MS, DNB doctors also, because there is a clinicality to it. But don't go by this fear that you should be a clinician to master this exam. From your BDS background itself, last year, Dr. Nitish, he scored all India rank 420 and he chose medical science optional. He is one my student. So people have done it from BDS background. But only thing is, master paper 1, in paper 2 also, apart from general medicine and general surgery, the PSM, the pediatrics, and also OBG are more or less social subjects. Nowadays, they're asking social pediatrics, IMNCA based approach. Nowadays, they're asking a lot of iron deficiency, national nutritional prophylaxis, anemia. So, even OBG is social. PSM is always social. Even for BDS background, BMS, BHMS, paper 2, the major chunk, okay, is still social only, which you can understand. Only the dermatology, general medicine, general studies is a little bit of clinical. So definitely my course will definitely help you. And for BDS, BMS, BHMS students, to help this, we have a foundation course also which is more detailed. Okay, you can check the courses part of my website. You will definitely find more help from my end, right? So this will answer your question, I guess. So Dr. Abhishek Daranghad, yeah, your background is BHMS. Yeah, see, guidance part for BHMS, BMS, 3 days back itself, I have uploaded a video because this is a constant demand. So I don't want to discuss this to save time. Okay, don't take me wrong. So please watch that video or else ping me through WhatsApp, Abhishek. I will share that video with you. Dr. Priyanka Arisetti, is your notes enough for medical science optional? Definitely yes. Dr. Anshupriya, All India rank 16, UPSC 2020. My favorite student and top rank from UPSC's MEDICO is All India rank 16. She openly admitted in an interview, that video is there in the website, that the notes we design is like more than enough, I guess. Why? I'll tell you. We are a team of 11 doctors from MD, MS, DNB background, and we worked for almost 4 years to create these notes in a UPSC specific fashion. Okay. If you're somewhere around in India, a doctor is sitting in a room and start working on these notes on himself, to outbeat our notes naturally. I'm not being rude here, but I'm talking with confidence because we have put in a lot of efforts to design these notes to help you in a crispier, easily revisable fashion. It would be very difficult for you to beat me with your own notes. Okay, so these are full and final enough and exclusively designed for UPSC exam. Sample notes are available with me. You can ping me through WhatsApp or you can go and check any course. Each course has a sample notes download section. You can check and see whether they are up to your expectations or not, right? So we have Ashish. Ashish, sir, I am in final year MBBS. Till now, I read whole GS syllabus once. Good. So my question is how to manage final year and UPSC preparation together for 2026 attempt. Ashish, people have done it before. Okay. Dr. Aditya last year, all India rank 70. Dr. Prashant, again, recently, Prashant SG, all India rank 70 UPSC. They have done it during their final year and during their internship. Okay. People have done it before. So how to manage is a broader segment to discuss. First, dedication, and second important thing is how good with your time management skills and answer writing skills. Okay, and also how strong your strategy is. Okay, so there is no specific answer to your question, but in general, there are classic examples of people who have done it, and the interview videos of Prashant is there in my website. Okay, in the UPSC Medico YouTube channel. Do watch it. He will tell you like how he was able to achieve his goal, like how he was working in tandem with medicine and also the general studies to master it. So that will definitely help you. If you need any specific guidance on this, call me on the number provided in the working hours. I'll guide you personally, like what should be your strategy, Ashish. Yeah. So let's move to the next question. Ankush, yeah. Whose checks or evaluates are MBBS optional papers? Are they specialists or basic MBBS? Ankush, I think this question is more in this uh, from UPSC Medico point of view. If you write mock tests with us, where MD/MS standard faculty or team is available. If you're talking about the board in general, UPSC, they are also of MD/MS standard and they are from CHS, that CGHS board, CGHS board from Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Yes. The same board who sets UPSC CMS paper also sets up UPSC Medical Science optional paper. That's why many of the questions MCQs based in CMS are theory based in medical science optional, and it is a CGHS board in Delhi. Okay, CGHS board are Central Health Service Board in Delhi, and they are specialist from their subjects. They are the specialist, not MBBS. Yeah. So I was able to answer most of your questions. If you have any specific question, please. Any more questions? Say I'm giving my number here again. If you have any specific questions, you can ping me. Okay, I'm Dr. Naveen. And like in 2019, I promised my medical science aspirants that I'm here to stay and I'm here to guide. Hopefully, I have given you the valuable information out of my experience. And if you're starting your journey, don't be afraid to fail, because failures are the stepping stones for success. And for most of us, we are going to taste that bitterness very soon. Yes. So be ready for it, and don't anticipate failure again. Always and always be well prepared for this exam, because we are the meritorious students of this country, right? I'm of an opinion that a doctor can even do mathematics well, because we have that guts, and we have the time management skills, and hardmanship is always there. So hopefully you will fly out with great colors in 26-27 attempt throughout your process. From any UPSC general information or general guidance or medical science optional related guidance, I'm always here to assist you. Okay, feel free to ping me or follow me through UPSC Medico social channels. We are on Instagram, we are on YouTube, right? So we are also on Telegram. All the links are there in the website upsc.medcampus.io. You can definitely uh, jump into the website and find relevant information. Ankush, about subscription of UPSC Medico, we do have courses available in the website. From there, you can contact us. Chalo, signing off for now. I think we're done with the questions. Any more final questions from any of the aspirant? Okay, then yes, no more questions, I guess. Thank you everyone for joining this video, joining this session, and all the best for your UPSC exam.